Hi, I'm Penny, this is Penelope's Pitstop, and in this issue I'm going to be showing you what I've done, as well as working on various parts of the head and the right shoulder. So I'd like to just give you a little bit of a catch up. This is the first 20 issues complete. So I won't go into massive detail because, as you can see, they will all get linked up eventually, and then I can talk about them as they come in. So this is the right upper arm, and you can see that this has got a couple of pistons in them. So you can see that what's going to happen is, as one goes in, one goes out, exactly the same as a muscle tendon, and this is obviously what moves it around. And then you've got the lower arm. This doesn't look pretty, doesn't really look much at the moment. That's going to go in there somehow eventually, yet to find out how. And then you've got the right hand, and there's quite a lot of work gone into this because of the articulation. It is actually quite impressive. And then this is going to go on something like that. So there you can see that's his right arm, and if you compare it to mine, it's a little bit hard. Let's see if I can get the angle. So if I put this there, obviously this is 1:2 scale, so obviously, oh, his fingers fell off. I'll sort that out later on. So obviously my arm is going to be bigger, but it gives you an idea of the size. However, most of the work so far has gone into the head, and this is the part that I think is really impressive. So this is the head. You've got the teeth, you've got the jaw. I can't move the jaw at the moment because it is actually hooked up to the motor, which is there. So you see this big, that's a stepper motor, and this is a servo. The servo will control the eyes to make them move left and right. Now what a servo generally does is it moves side to side. What a stepper motor does is it will go round and round, forwards, backwards, but it's not like a DC motor. A DC motor goes round at speed, and the more the more that you apply power, the faster it will go, whichever way you go. A stepper motor is much more precise, and it works on magnetic field. I don't really understand the full science. This is a very layman's term, but basically as the electric field is applied, there's like a magnet or something like that inside, and it will get drawn more towards one, and how the electric field is on depends on where the magnet goes or arrives to. As a result, you can get a much more accurate positioning. To give you some idea of common uses, if you had a radio controlled car, you would have a DC motor that controls the wheels, the drive. The more power you apply, the faster it goes. And servos would probably control the front steering, so they're just going to go like that, and that decides on the direction. Something like a stepper motor, possibly a bit too advanced for something like a radio controlled car. The most common use I've seen them is 3D printers. So if you have like a screw rod that controls things, obviously the stepper motor can go around, and it can really, to give you an idea, if one turn will turn something possibly 380 I'm just trying to think now, about 360 degrees is like one turn, but for example, when you've got the 3D printer, to move something 1 millimeter might require 120 turns. and then you can program it so that how many turns, but generally as you're putting filament in, it would turn 80 times to move this much. So you can see that the amount of accuracy it has. So at the moment we've got a head which manually rotates on the neck. The head obviously looks very odd at the moment because it looks very, very square. We have been working on the skull, and the skull is going to go in something like, is that the wrong way round? No, it was the correct way round. So the skull's going to go in something like that, and then on the front of that will be a faceplate, and now you can start to see how it's beginning to take shape. Obviously this isn't in properly. I believe there's a bit more work to do on the back of the skull, yeah, so this is it so far. So without further ado, that's a phrase I've not used in a long time, let's begin with issue 21. But before I tell you this, I will just say this is the model from Agora Models. It's no different from the Hachette model, other than I receive 10 issues a month rather than 1 issue a week. What this means for the stream, for the channel, is in order to keep up with 10 issues a month, and also take it into account that I'm a little bit behind, I'm going to be publishing 3 issues a week for a number of weeks, and then I hope to go 2 issues, 3 issues, 2 issues, 3 issues. So that will give me 10 issues a month. However, when there's 5 weeks in a month, I'll just slow that down a little bit and do 2 issues a week. So then we stretch out so that we have a little bit of content every week rather than all of it and then nothing. So let's crack on with issue 21. So issue 21, let's quickly go through the parts list. We have 1 right shoulder joint, 2 right shoulder joint fitting, and there's 2 of those, 3 metal shaft larger, and 4 metal shaft smaller, and there's 2 of each, and then 5 is 2 on a sprue lower jaw joint cover, and then that's finished up with some part 6 3x PM 2x4mm screws. So step 1, after test fitting the parts, apply a tiny drop of super glue to the sides of the 4 studs circled on the back of one of the shoulder joint fittings 21-2. And then step 2, fit the shoulder joint fitting 21-2 into the center of the shoulder joint 21-1, ensuring that the 4 studs on parts 21-2 fit into the 4 sockets in part 21-1. So this is the part 2, and I don't know if you can see it okay. There are 4 studs there, and what's going to happen is we have this piece, part 2, and you see that they're pretty much identical on both sides. So I'm trying to get the focus. It really doesn't want to play ball. So what's going to happen is that this is going to go into there like so, and what I'm thinking is to get this into there, it might be quite hard to manipulate, so I'm actually considering putting the glue onto that part. Now I will put the glue onto this part, so I'm going to use a spare piece of the packaging to pop the glue onto. There's no point, I'm just shaking my glue. This is quite an old glue. I did have trouble with it in another part work, and that looks rather runny actually. I have got some new glue coming tomorrow, but you know me, I have to get everything done today, so we want a big old scoop of that glue. We don't want to put so much on that it all runs out of the sides, but it doesn't matter if there's a little bit that runs down the pegs. So see there that I've applied the glue, and we just want to look onto here, and that's gone in fine, and we'll just hold that for 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and I'll just give it a little pull, and that's gone in fine. So step 3, repeat steps 1 and 2 with the second shoulder joint fitting 21-2 to fit into the recesses on the other side of the shoulder joint 12-1. So this is the joint that we've done, and you see this side hasn't got the joint in, and that's going to go into the other side like that, exactly the same way. So hopefully I've not left my glue out too long. So we'll just apply a bit of glue, and like I say, you can apply a little bit too much, but not enough that it's all going to run down. But the basic the way super glue seems to work, I have seen people that load extra glue onto it. Now all that happens is that if you put extra glue on, it doesn't actually stick any tighter. It just means it takes longer to dry. So if you apply literally just enough, it should be set within about 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and that's fine. So I'm getting another cocktail stick, and I'm just going to give that what I call beyond reasonable wear. So the amount of effort I'm giving that to try and remove that is actually far more than it would get with the model, and I can't lift that off, so I'm calling that a job well done. So on to step 4, cut the 2 lower jaw joint covers 5 from the plastic frame. Take care when using a craft knife, it is advisable to work on a cutting mat or other suitable surface. So here we have a craft knife. Equally, you can always use side cutters, or perhaps you can do a combination of the two. So the way the side cutters work is you just get the flat side of the cutters and just clip like so, and we can just gently remove this. Just get my glue out of the way. Trim. Now there may well be a little bit of an edge on that, so you can either get a little bit of sandpaper or you can do it just trim. But when you trim with a knife, do not do as I do. You should really trim away from you, and the reason you trim away from you excuse me, is that if you should slip, you'll go that way and you won't cut yourself. So same with this one. If you've got a good set of side cutters, the amount of leftover won't be quite so high. And that's that stage. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a blocked throat today for some reason. So step 5, apply a tiny drop of super glue to the studs on the back of the jaw joint cover 21-5. It is important to keep the recess in part 21-5 free of glue. And then step 6 will be take the head assembly from stage 20. After checking the screw is fully tightened, fit the jaw joint cover 21-5 over the screw and washer in the recess at the top of the lower jaw. So what we will need then is the jaw, and here is that magnificent beast, and what we're going to be doing is popping one into there. So we have 2 studs, but we've got 4 holes, so that's interesting. So let's do a dry fit, and that is a good fit. However, it's quite fiddly and it will fall out. So what I'm going to look at doing is I'm actually going to cheat a little bit. I have this pen which is actually for diamond painting, and the reason I'm liking it is it's actually got blue tack in it. It's called a pick-me-up stick. Now if you don't have anything like this, you can equally use blue tack, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to pick the piece up, and then that way I can apply it a little bit more accurately. See what I've done there? So again, trying to get the focus. Just doesn't want to know, does it? So let's see if... Right, so there's the piece, and that's going to go into there like that, but we need to make sure we get it accurate. So let's pop some glue down, and this is a very useful pen actually. I wouldn't say go out and buy one just on the strength of this piece, but if you happen to have anything like this, it is well worth it. However, just a piece of blue tack, plasticine, anything like that will do the job perfectly. So little bit of glue applied, and I've actually switched sides, however it doesn't really matter, and I've lost my place. There we go. So that's in, and of course because this blue tack is quite sticky, whichever bond is the weakest between the glue and the blue tack is the one that will come away. So if I've done my calculations correct, oh no, that didn't work. Right, so I think what we're going to have to do then is apply a little bit more glue, but just very carefully around the edges there, and you really don't need a thick layer of glue. The thinner this the better. So let's try it now. So 2, 3, 4, 5, still not. Oh dear. Having said that though, that could actually just be the glue. There we go. That's nearly sticking. No, that's not going to work. Right, okay, let's give it more glue. And like I keep saying, this glue is on its last legs, so it could be the glue. If this doesn't work, then what I'm going to have to do is wait another day to continue filming, and I mean obviously that will just be a matter of seconds for you guys, but yeah, if I can't get this glue working, then I'll just have to wait for the new stuff that I've ordered. So I can't find the hole now. Again, I'm suffering from Penny's wearing the wrong glasses, so let's just give that a few seconds, and there we go, it's worked that time. So it's a little bit of an excess of glue on blue tack, so that's just a little cover there for the as you see on that side there's a screw, there we go, and that's just a cover for the screw. So stage 7, repeat steps 5 and 6 to fit the second jaw joint cover on the other side of the head. Grip the two covers in place while the glue dries. So exactly the same as the last stage. So I'm going to use my pick-me-up pen again, and I'm going to apply that onto there. We're going to do a dry fit. I find it quite interesting. There are 4 holes there, but this has only got 2 pegs, so there we go, that's gone in absolutely fine. So we haven't got the luck of I'm going to put more glue in. We haven't got the luck that it's a really tight fit. On one of the earlier stages we put some covers on the neck, and I'll show you those in a bit. In fact, I'll show you them now. I think there and there's covers, and you are supposed to glue them in. However, when I did a test fit, they did actually fit really well, and they didn't come out, so I left them. And I figured if I ever need to remove them for whatever reason, then I'll be able to get them out a lot easier than if I glued them in. So another reason to not put too much glue on, which I don't feel I have there, you don't want to get glue onto that screw. So that's why you want to be really careful coming into here. And I've lost control of it. I can't line the pegs up. Probably down to my eyesight. There we go, that's gone in. So we'll give that about 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's still not stuck. There we go, that's stuck. I actually didn't have the piece in. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that has not stuck. Okay, so I do apologise, guys. It's really coming to the end of this glue, and normally I can tell when this glue isn't going to stick, because you get some runny stuff, and then you get some really thick bit of glue, and it has been coming out runny. And coming out runny generally means that it's not mixed, because the runny stuff seems to sit on top of the thicker stuff. So, and a lot of the parts I've done, for some reason I've needed to apply glue twice, and I have a theory that the first bit of glue has stuck to the target piece, and then as you've pulled it out, you've applied more glue. It's then stuck the glue in between the two parts. So there we go, that's gone in. So 3, 2, 1. That's still not gone in. I am struggling here. Oh. No, right. Okay guys, I think I might have to I'm going to give that a little bit of a wipe, get the old glue off, and I'm going to start again with I'm going to start again. Okay, so I've actually done it off camera because I just wanted to save any blushes. I gave that glue a really good mix, and I had a really good look at it, and I wonder if maybe I hadn't applied glue to all the surfaces. So that's now on, along with this first side. Now I don't want to test this because this is attached to the motor, and you see there's a little arm there, and I feel if I pull this jaw down, that will wreck it there. But I've got a little bit of movement there, and I feel that if I'd have got glue on the actual screw, it wouldn't even move that much. So I am actually happy with that. So on to step 8. Check the fit of the larger metal shafts 21-3 in the holes near the top of the skull. If necessary, use a suitable fine file to make the holes a little larger and remove any excess materials left in the hole in the finishing process. And then step 9, remove the shafts and apply a little adhesive to the sides of one hole. Fit the first metal shaft into the hole. And then step 10, repeat step 9 to fit the second shaft into the hole on the other side of the skull. Check the fit of the smaller metal shafts in the holes near the lower edge of the skull. So, and I'm just checking stage 10. Right, at stage 11, apply a little super glue to the insides of the holes at the lower edge of the skull and glue the two smaller shafts in place. So let's get the skull, and here you can see 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what we're going to be doing is, now I don't want to get this wrong, because if it's a tight fit and I've got the wrong one in the wrong hole, I'm not going to be able to get them out. So I can see that I'm going to get one of each. So let's look at the differences. So one's a little shorter, and I can't get that in focus. It's also a different diameter. Come on, focus. So that's good. So what we do now is we look for the, there we go, this hole there. Let's use the other camera, shall we? I've set up a close-up cam. So there we can see 4 holes, and we can clearly see that the top 2 holes are larger than the bottom holes. So we'll test fit the top ones first. We'll pop that into there, and I can see that that is definitely going to need gluing, most definitely. And then we test fit that one, and then what I'd like to do is test fit the second one in as well. That's actually ever so slightly loose, and again you could use your blue tack to handle this. Oh, that's actually gone in really stiff. No, I don't want that one to stay in. So I'm just picking that out. So what that tells us is that it doesn't matter which shaft goes in. If you had one that was slightly larger and only fit into one of them, you'd have to know which is which. So let's look at the smaller shafts. Okay, and that. Right, that goes in fine. And that goes in fine, and oh, that was lucky. I just dropped that and that almost landed in the super glue. So that goes in fine, and that one goes in fine. So I'll fit the larger ones first, and the way I'm going to apply the glue is I'm actually going to, because this glue is a little bit funny, I'm going to give one squirt onto the waste bit, and then I'm going to put one squirt into the hole. No, I'm not. I'm going to squirt on the end of the shaft. So the way I do that is I'm just going to squirt a tiny bit off the end, and I'm going to just touch the end, and I'm hoping this glue works, but I will test it afterwards. So that can slide straight in, push it down as hard as we can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's not gone in. That's gone in now, so it just needed an extra second. So second larger shaft, because it's not large, is it? It's quite small, and everything is by comparison. Right, so if anything, there's slightly too much glue on there, but I don't think it's going to matter, because there isn't enough glue to make it ooze out of the top. Now I'm a little bit worried that one of those sticks ain't more than the other, and there isn't really any way to know until we've done a later stage. So onto the smaller shafts, and I'm going to pop that onto there. No, there's running out of blue tack on the end, so I'll just top that up. So a little bit of a squidge. Just take the end off. I'm really sorry you can't see this too well. What I'll do, before I do issue 20, I will rearrange my cameras. I have a manual focus camera. Oh, that's not sticking. That's gone in. So I have a manual focus camera, which is this one. As you see, it doesn't manually adjust, and I've actually had it set up so that it focuses at a certain point, and I know what that certain point is, and I've been using the overhead camera to do the working. However, it has trouble focusing, which is a bit of a pain. Now when I used to do the live streams, I used to set the focus manually. Unfortunately, I've got a new computer and I have no idea how to get the software. I don't think they even make it anymore. So that's nearly going in. That's not wanting to come out. There we go. Now that does want to come out. So I'm gonna get some of this older glue that might be drying now. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if we have liftoff. No, we do not, which is great. So there we go. So I'll switch to the close-up camera. So there and there. Can't find the pieces. There and there is the pieces that we've just popped in. So let's switch back to the overhead. So that is, step 13 is to use, stage 13, use 2 PM 2x4mm screws, 21/6, to fix the skull to the lower jaw. The screw on the left hand side of the head is circled. So what we are looking for, let me see if I've just got this right. So we have 2 screw holes there, one there, one there, and there should be, there we go, there's a screw hole there, and they should line up. Now I actually don't know what to do with these wires, I'll be honest with you. So I've got the eyes coming out round the side there's one eye, there's the other. I've got this stepper motor one coming out the side, and I've got the eye motor coming out the top, and I think that is a center. And I'm also going to tuck it underneath that screw hole there. You see the screw hole there? That way the wires won't get nipped with the skull. And I think that if I have got it wrong, at least it's going to be easy to fix because this is only screwed in. So that's the head dry fitted, so to speak, and that is such a perfect fit. So I'm guessing that the back of the head is going to go on with some magnets, because there's some little plates there and they are not magnetized. So let's get the screws ready. We should only need 2 of them, and there are the 2, and I'm going to pop that into there. So Oreo time. As everyone knows, I love my Oreo. However, I haven't pre-planned this, so I don't actually know which screwdriver head to use. So let's go in with a posi head size 0, which might be too big. I think that's going to be okay. So let's give that a try. So we'll get the first screw in, and I don't know if you can see, I'm just popping that into there. That is too big, way too big. So let's go for posi head size. I think 000 will be too small. Do you know what? That's brilliant. That is absolutely spot on. So I'm going to screw it in almost all of the way. It's really hard to see actually because of the focus. I really need to change the camera for the next part. So I don't know if you can see just there. Let's bring it in. Yeah, it's hard to see because there's no light, but just underneath the shaft there's a little screw hole, and then what we will do is we will pop the second one in, but this one can go in all of the way. I don't like to put one screw in all the way until all of the screws have been applied, and this is quite handy because this has got a slightly longer head to it, which just gives it a slightly better reach. So And what you can do is you can see this part coming in a little bit closer to the next part, and that gap just gets smaller and smaller. So that's that side, and then we'll go back to the first one. There we go. Right, that's moving ever so slightly, so I'm therefore not totally happy. Just got a little tiny bit more turn to it there. Not much, maybe about 1/32 of a turn, but sometimes that's all it takes. So that head is now on. So that is now the stage complete. Details have been added to the head, and the skull has been fitted to the top of the head. You have also made a start on the right shoulder joint. So there we go, this is the right, whoops, this is the right shoulder joint, and this is the head, and he's really starting to look something now, isn't he? So I'm going to leave the video there. What I've decided to do is, rather than do multiple issues in one video, I'm going to do one stage, one issue per video, and then if I obviously I'm doing the catch up, and so I want to release about 2 or 3 videos a week until I've caught up. Once I've caught up a little bit with the Terminator, because I'm doing it through Agora Models and I get 10 issues a month, and I can't remember if I get them monthly or 4 weekly, but I think I get them calendar monthly. So what I'll do is, for 2 months, when there's 4 weeks in a month, I'll go 2 issues, 3 issues, 2 issues, 3 issues. When there's 5 weeks in a month, I'll go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Is that 10? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So that's the end of this stage, but about an hour after this is, or half an hour after this has been released, there will be another video. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you continue to watch. Thank you very much. Shoulder joint fittings 21-2, and then step 2 says